hope you are well. It's been so long since I've gone live. I'm freaking jazzed about it. So excited because you know what we have to talk about. You know what's going on. First of all, I want to say, don't let the fact that you can see all of my titties or my hair being lopsided distract you from, hi, thank you for joining, from the important messages that I have to share today. I'm so excited to talk about this because this is taking over my life right now. And I feel like this is a way to expel the energy. This eclipse season is so potent. I'm scared. There's nothing to be scared of if you know what's happening and why it's happening. So I am here to impart some wisdom and how to navigate this eclipse and this eclipse season with as much sovereignty, as much groundedness, as much awareness of what's happening and how to work with it as possible. So basically, for those of you either watching live or watching later on YouTube, I'm going to talk a little bit about what this eclipse is, what you are probably already feeling, what you'll be feeling on Tuesday leading up to the full moon eclipse, or the lunar eclipse, the full moon in Taurus. We're approaching, not the full moon in Taurus. Yes, the full moon in Taurus, new moon in Scorpio, solar eclipse that's happening this week, and ultimately how to work with it. I'll also, I'll impart some journaling prompts that could help you navigate it. The first thing I want to say is that while I typically recommend you don't do too much with eclipse energy because it's known to sort of backfire, I'll get more into like the weird relationship that I have with that word at all. But I will say that if you do want to join a healing circle that I will be co-facilitating with Just Be Inspired for Smudge Wellness, you can do so by visiting my Instagram or my page. The link is in the bio. It's totally free with a suggested donation if you feel called to. We're going to do some work to really protect ourselves, to really surrender and release, and ultimately work alongside the themes of this eclipse, which really is death and rebirth, right? And how we should approach and embrace death with with open arms, because it is how we rid that we invite in. It is how we invite in that we have to rid. That didn't make any sense. But the first thing that I want to say is that this Tuesday, the 25th, is the solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. I think obviously when we hear Scorpio, we already get a little bit apprehensive. But yeah, there truly is that level of intensity when it comes to this transit. Mind you, there's other things also happening in the sky. Chiron's getting aspected. Venus is happening. Also, Mars in Gemini is going retrograde on the 30th. So what it looks like is October 23rd, we'll have Saturn retrograde ending. We'll have the solar eclipse on the 25th, and then on the thing typed out. And then on October 30th, we'll have Mars in retrograde. And what's important about this is that if Saturn, and I actually saw a tweet about this, if Saturn retrograde was an opportunity to revise our strategy, to revise the path that we're walking, Mars retrograde is now an opportunity to revise our action and how we're going to move on that path accordingly and the action that we're going to take. But overall, there is this invitation to stop and to come back to stillness. And I feel like that's also honoring the fall season that we're entering. This isn't really, and it's funny because I have so many things planned, but like, this is not really a time of like doing too much. Just because like on a surface level, this is also a time to like kind of stay off the roads and just be away from situations that could get chaotic, because people are very emotionally responsive, explosive. So recognizing the fact that like now really is a time, hi, thank you for joining, to be centered, to be home, to be grounded, to be in your own space, but ultimately to be reflective on, okay, what am I feeling? Which feelings are, all of your feelings are valid, but you could be recognizing which feelings are responses and reactions rather than like actual like logical processing, and responding accordingly. So I do want to say, I feel like I haven't even made a single point yet, but I want to say, if you're already feeling this energy, that's completely normal. Eclipses are so intense. If you're feeling moody, irritated, a bit overstimulated, like you're feeling everything all at once and you're feeling one thing and then you're feeling another thing, that's completely normal. But ultimately, you're really getting invited to sit and review the ultimate hierarchy, the ultimate question that I think encompasses this entire eclipse transit is, what are you no longer tolerating? And that can come from internal, that can come from external. It can be a way someone treats you. It can be the way that you're treating yourself. It can be a limiting belief that you have about yourself. It can be a job. It can be an attachment. And what I think you really, really, really would benefit from looking at is, what part of your life or what situation or what circumstance are you trying so hard to make work that just isn't working? What are you pushing? What are you forcing? What are you exerting such an overt amount of energy towards that is ultimately in its own resistance telling you that it is not worth that energy, that it doesn't want to work out, that that isn't what you should be directing so much of your energy towards. What are you trying to force that does not want to be forced? And how can you confront the truth of that, confront the inevitable, perhaps, mourning of that, and let yourself move on and receive better or receive ease? And of course, life calls for, discipline. It calls for strife at times. It calls for challenge. That's how we grow. But I think it's important to have discernment when you're, being invited to really, grow into a more resilient version of yourself versus when there should be ease and there isn't ease. If you're being met with so much resistance that is actually draining the life force out of you, recognize when you're just being asked to let it go, to want more for yourself. Sometimes things are difficult so that you learn the lesson that you get to decide that you deserve more. And you get to say, this is hard and I deserve ease. This is struggle and I deserve to receive. This, I think there's been a narrative that we have to suffer in order to gain. And I would challenge you to rewrite that narrative for yourself, specifically for this eclipse. I do not have to suffer. I do not have to hurt in order to deserve love, to deserve abundance. That is my inherent birthright. That was a total tangent, but that's like one of the many things that I think a lot of people are confronting, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that this is a Scorpio Taurus eclipse season, and Taurus is all about basking in luxury. And sometimes what is standing in the way of basking in luxury is your belief that you need to work yourself to the bone in order to deserve luxury. Sometimes it is the scarcity mindset of like, I have to work overtime, I have to sacrifice so much, I have to hurt in order to deserve love, to deserve abundance, to deserve money. And it's like, it is you in that mindset that keeps you working that pattern instead of just undoing that, recognizing the fact that that's an ancestral way of thinking, right? The people that came before us, unfortunately, lived in a societal circumstance that made that true, but we are free and we don't have to live abiding by that truth, and we can set ourselves free simply by shifting our mindset when it comes to you don't need to work in order to deserve reward, right? Mind you, as a Capricorn Mercury, I am someone who's very disciplined to make sure that she shows up for what she needs to do. And I think that work is beautiful when it is heart-led. But what I mean by work is suffering. What I mean by work is doing what does not light you up for the sake of getting by, surviving versus thriving. I hope that makes sense. That's like my fucking catchphrase, but I just hope that in any way, shape, or form makes sense, especially because it aligns very much with the Scorpio-Taurus transit. But yeah, so eclipses are very, very, very unpredictable. If you've been getting little signs, synchronicities, little hits that something needs to be removed, that you need to redirect, that something isn't quite what it says it is, and you've been ignoring that, you've been ignoring your own intuitive compass, I will say eclipses have a way of doing the work that you didn't want to do for you. And that isn't to be scary, but that is to say that just eclipses take a lot of the work off of our hands in terms of if you don't do it, I will. And it's much easier when you do it yourself because eclipses don't really take into account your comfort. They take into account your ascension. And sometimes ascension is not comfortable, especially if you are resisting the lesson or the letting go. So know that if things have been needing to end for a while, this is a season where they probably will end. And if things need to shift or redirect, or someone needs to come in, or something needs to be said, if you need to say something, if you need to hear something, this is probably when that's going to happen. And it's important to recognize the fact that if you've been avoiding any certain truths, any certain shifts, any sort of confrontations, understand that it coming to the surface is for your best and highest good, and you don't need to be comfortable in order to grow. Thank you guys for joining so much. So overall, in summary of what I've been saying so far, it's eclipse season is no joke. It has everything to do with confronting our relationship versus needing to struggle in order to gain versus being inherently worthy of thriving. Redefining any limiting beliefs surrounding being inherently worthy of an abundant life versus needing to sacrifice and work yourself to the bare bone in order to deserve that. Eclipses have a way of doing what you didn't want to do, what you were avoiding. If anything is meeting you with resistance right now, respect the resistance and know that ease should be your guidepost. If something is easy, if something is fluid, if something is effortless, continue to follow that. If something is meeting you back with resistance, and be able to discern growth and challenge versus like resistance and something that is working against you. Let yourself feel worthy and deserving of redirecting. I just realized I had eyeliner on. Oh, I didn't. It's just a wing. Okay, whatever. Wow. Anyway, very unpredictable seasons. Eclipse seasons are very unpredictable. Just know that you may be moody, you may be reactive, you may be drained, you may be socially out of it. It is within your best interest to just limit the amount of stimulation and activity, particularly social activity, that you have right now. Because like I said, we also have Mars and Gemini moving into, is Mars in Gemini or Mars is in Libra? I know it was switching signs during the retrograde season, but it's moving into retrograde. So this is an opportunity to really reassess, what did Saturn retrograde teach you about what you want the game plan to be, and how will you allow Mars in retrograde season to be a time to assess, okay, if I know that this is what I want to go towards, what actions do I want to take, and what actions honor a life of ease and a life of pleasure versus a life of needing to survive in order to thrive, right? Because we heal and liberate our ancestors, and we heal and liberate ourselves, and we have to recognize the fact that the story of working so hard to get what we inherently deserve is an ancestral story that we will continue to feed throughout generations unless we stop it in its tracks right here and right now by saying that I get to enjoy life and I get to rest, and I do not have to sacrifice myself in order to deserve that rest. I said the same point 5 times. I'm hoping that it's drilled into your brain at this point. Like I said, whatever warning signs that you have ignored up until now, whatever resistances in your life will kind of be taken care of by said eclipse. 2 things. A lot of reptile symbolism and energy has been coming up. I've been seeing a lot of like lizards. I've been reading about a lot of dragons. I got this like dragon. I will show you guys. It's a moss agate. It's a little release your job, release your trade. Oh my god, this little dragon. Iguanas have been talking, lizards have been talking. I've had a couple of friends ask me about like lizard symbolism. I bring this all up to say that reptiles really symbolize regeneration and understanding that things need to die in order for things to be born. And like a lizard will like get its tail chopped off and be like, true, gonna regrow a new one. Right? And that new one's going to be even stronger and more adaptable. So recognize the fact that like if you're getting your tail chopped off right now, metaphorically or literally, but also just like if you are losing part of what you have if you're losing a part of the foundation that you have relied heavily on, know that you can regenerate it with something that is so much more aligned and more rooted in the truth that you know to be now. Those were a lot of words, but understand, especially when it comes to this solar eclipse being in the sign of Scorpio, Scorpio is all about embracing death, breathing in death, understanding that things need to go in order for things to come through. So yeah, just embrace the endings, work with reptile energy. That's the reason why I got this dragon, because I was like, period. Like, let's, 100%. I think it's so important to recognize the fact that like our discomfort with death and endings truly is, survival instinct. And this is all about getting out of survival instinct and getting into a life that is luscious and fruitive and abundant. And another thing that I would invite you to do is take some time to visit Mother Earth, because something that I think comes up a lot in Earth symbolism is the fact that Earth has the ability to alchemize what we offer her and grow something so much more abundant in its place, right? In the circle of life, when an animal dies, its body decays and decomposes and goes into the earth to be recycled and renewed. It's part of like Reiki activation as well. So understand that like if you have any time, especially on the day of this eclipse, to just visit Mother Earth, but also just like a patch of grass, and just put your palms into the soil, put your palms into the grass, and just say, take whatever needs to go, take whatever gunk, take whatever limiting belief, attachment, person, thing. Thank you so much. That is so sweet of you. Take whatever does no longer belong to me, so that how you regenerate it becomes and grows something that actually honors who I have allowed myself to evolve into, and the life of thriving that I'm calling in for myself. So yeah, just take some time to like literally surrender it all to Mother Earth. But know that if you surrender in particular, if you surrender with this eclipse, be ready to lose what may trigger your sense of comfort. Like, it may actually bring endings to things that you were like, wait, but like, I had some sort of attachment to that, but understanding that it is in the ending and it is in the liberation of it that you actually get to meet and embrace what is true and what actually aligns with your ascension and your ascended self. Yeah, otherwise, if you've been having weird dreams, very much eclipse, pay attention to your dreams though. Off-putting energy, feeling like there's something in the air and you can't quite pinpoint what it is. Intuitive hits, a lot of downloads are coming up right now. Pay attention to those downloads. Stop hoarding. Yeah. Oh my God, I have been clearing out so much physically, like a lot of physical, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just decluttering, releasing, honestly, like just genuinely throwing away. That's also a great way to work with this eclipse. Wear and work with the color black. Obviously, as you see, I'm in all black, which I never really usually am, but like, it's a beautiful way to like just bring grounding and protection, because like I said, a lot of people are reactive right now. So there's a lot of energies and emotions that are kind of being thrown around. So in order to not catch what doesn't belong to you, just wearing black or working with, you know, obsidian, tourmaline, just protective energies is definitely going to be great. And yeah, this is just I can't emphasize enough what a beautiful opportunity that this is for transformation. And I know that I've said a lot, but it truly does not take too much work from your part, because the eclipse will get done when an eclipse needs to get done. This is all about you letting yourself let go. Yes, color therapy. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I feel really, really good in black right now. And there are times when I'm like, I can't wear black. Why would I wear black? And right now, black feels so safe. So just know that like black is very grounding. And yeah, this is just a beautiful opportunity for transformation. But with transformation comes the, just bidding farewell to what ultimately is just bringing too much resistance, too much strife, too much exerted energy. And know that because this axis, let it go and make it chic me with a turtleneck. This axis is in Scorpio and Taurus. This is really all about confronting fears, confronting the instincts that come from fear, the habits, the like natural, organic, almost like ghost responses that come from fear, and building you beliefs that not only honor like bravery, but that honor feeling deserving of the fullest version of what you want, not settling in any area of your life, which I feel like is a lesson that I bleed into every like astrological transit, but this one in particular, because it's a Scorpio and Taurus axis, it's like Scorpio shows us what's in our subconscious, like the beliefs that may not even be ours, but maybe our parents, and maybe our parents' parents, maybe the ancestral lineage that's within our like epigenetics that tells us that we need to survive, or we need to settle, or we need to be quiet, or we need to be diluted, or whatever has been keeping you from living the fullest, most abundant version of your life. It's surrendering that, giving that back to Mother Earth, saying thank you, but no thank you, this isn't mine, putting it back in the soil so that it blooms something which is tangible and Taurus-like, which is our relationship with like love and indulgence and bliss and abundance and what looks and feels and tastes good. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Overall, crazy eclipse season. I'll be back obviously to talk about the lunar eclipse, but this is the solar eclipse. Intense energies overall. Just please be as patient with yourself as possible. Your tail is getting chopped off right now. And as exciting as it is for it to grow back, there's also going to be some growing pains in the space in between. So let yourself bid farewell to whatever has to be bid farewell with honesty, knowing that it is hard to let go of hard to let go. This song, My Men I Trust, it's such a good song. It's hard to let go of what you have built, perhaps a sense of safety within, but it is in you letting it go that you are communicating to the universe that I decide that I'm deserving of more. And that's exactly how it arrives. So wow, me recognizing how that's showing up for me right now. That's crazy. Also, yes, if you know where Scorpio rules your chart, you will get more insight on how this is like affecting you more specifically. But I will be talking about how this will affect each and every sign and how to work with it via your rising sign and your sun sign at our Eclipse Healing Circle on Tuesday, the 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's totally free. If you want to donate, you can, but otherwise it's via Zoom. It'll be fun. I love you so much. I love all you guys. I hope that you are well. And yeah, walk with grace, walk with patience. And I'll see you for the lunar eclipse, okay? What if you have a Scorpio moon? Oh, ha! If you have any fixed placements, honey, I'm sorry.